Welcome, one and all, back to the Austin and Scott Variety Show.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Today we have a special guest, friend of the show, friend of a friend, Ian.
How's it going, Ian?
It goes well. And yourself?
Not too bad.
Yeah, it was a late last night celebrating. So I got in
Nice.
at like 1 in the morning. I
Oh,
got
boy.
up at 7 to rehydrate and put the music together for the show. But it worked out pretty well.
That's good.
It is a little early for the podcast, so we will desperately try to wake up as we muddle through this. Yes, welcome one and all back to another special episode of the Austin and Scott Variety Show with our special guest today, Ian. Okay, Ian,
Hi.
how was your week? Highs and lows?
Lows, I had to go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Lower lows, I had to go down to Salinas to support work.
Uh-oh. That's not...
Highs, I was given a wine voucher.
Ooh, okay.
Other highs,
And-
I was promoted to senior manufacturing engineer.
Way to go, Idaho.
Let's go.
Congratulations on the promotion. I'm
Thank
assuming
you.
that comes with a lot of additional responsibilities, hence why you had to make the trip and go
You know
back
what's
to work.
great? I don't get more responsibilities. I use the same ones that I've been doing for the last 2 years. I just get recognition
so-
for it.
The title finally caught up.
Very good. How about yourself, Austin? How's your week? What was your highs? What were your lows?
Well, I'm still working a bunch of overtime that I really shouldn't be doing because I'm not getting paid to do it.
Fair.
But the highs are that I'm going to take like a week vacation. I'm going to go fly out to Arizona for a week and spend some quality time with Grandma.
Fair. Now, does she listen to this podcast?
Just from time to time. Hi, Grandma.
Hi, Austin's grandma.
Hi, Austin's grandma.
I mean, I'm not
Hey,
really
I
looking
mean-
forward to being in LAX for like a day. Just
Ouch.
like a 7-hour layover because I picked it.
Really nice lounges in LA.
If you do get the lounge thing, though, I hear that it's all free. I've never been to one, but it's all complimentary.
Kat and I
Dude.
just did one because we went to Puerto Morelos last week.
Nice.
And straight up, we were stuck in Dallas for 4 hours. So I was like, oh, wait, I have this thing. Let's do the thing. And they're like, hey, here, all the food is complimentary. The glasses and anything from the bar is complimentary up to top shelf.
That's
And I
really good
said,
shit.
anything? And they're like, anything.
So what'd you get?
I had a frosty Irish coffee. So it was like
Nice.
a milkshake Irish coffee with a bit of crystals in it. It was delicious. And then
Okay.
Kat had
The
a
crystals.
peach butter pecan old fashioned.
Very interesting. You'd be careful. You'll get way too drunk if you're there. It's for 7 hours, Austin.
Yeah.
You have enough
Yeah.
time to get drunk and then sober in that amount of time, or just keep the drunk going.
Yeah, it's going to be a long day. And I didn't take that day off work, so I plan on working remote from maybe the Proud Bird. That's the restaurant I mentioned across the way from
Gotcha, yeah,
LAX.
Yeah, so maybe don't get the lounge. Go to the Proud Bird instead. I like your plan now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're taking Diane with you?
Yes, Diane will be joining me on this one. So that means
Nice.
our beloved cats are going to be by themselves for a whole week. Luckily, we have them fully automated, so
Oh,
we
nice.
don't really have to worry about it. I might send a friend over just to make sure everything's in order, because one of our cats likes to poop on the steps instead of in the litter box. He
Yeah.
touches the litter with one hand, and he's like, I've made it far enough. This is where I will go. My journey is nearly at an end.
That's great. The personality of that cat must just be top notch.
Yeah.
All right, I'll wrap this up then. My highs
Sure.
for this week is we're going to go to a rock show after we're done with this. So, and when I say rock show, I mean a gem and mineral show, not a concert.
Oh,
Because everyone we talk to, that's always the first
who are you going
misconception
to
that
see
they
at the
have.
rock
So
show?
they're like,
Yeah.
oh, who are you going to go see? A
lot of mineralogists.
Pyrite, yeah. Heart heavy metal. Yep.
All very appropriate rock band names.
Yes. Anyhow, so that's my high for this week. My low would probably have to be that I had work I had to do over this weekend, and I've gotten most of it done. There's still a little bit left, but that pretty much took up all my yesterday. So I had to reschedule a lot of stuff that is not fun to reschedule.
Mhm.
You don't want to have to reschedule stuff. So
Well, I guess that's nothing to cry about. And speaking about crying, Scott, you have an interesting fun fact for us this
I
week.
do have a fun fact for us. Ian, do you know why onions make you cry?
Something to do with the enzymes it releases in the air.
Exactly. So I looked into this a little bit because I was always curious, didn't really know. But onions, they're bulbs that mature underground, as we all know. And their subterranean home is inhabited by creatures such as voles, which love to nibble on the roots of tubers and bulbs, just like what onions are. So in order to stop this happening, what onions evolved over time is they basically got a defense mechanism that was designed to protect them as they grow from these hungry animals that nom on their tubes and roots. And basically, the onion, like you said, spews enzymes and sulfenic acid when their skin is broken. And these compounds combine to produce propanethyl S-oxide, an irritating gas. And then basically when that gas mixes with our eyes or our tears, it turns into sulfuric acid.
What?
And that basically is what that's what's burning your eyes. Now, thankfully, our eyes also have evolved over time. They have a defense mechanism that when your nerve in your eye detects an irritant or a pain, it will generate a tear to flush it out. So literally your eye is being hit, and then your eye is just like, get this out of my eye, and flushes it, and that's why you're crying. We're talking such small amounts already that it's just a sting. Mm-hmm. We're never going to dissolve through your eye just from aerated particles. Now, if you took onion juice, maybe. But
I have a feeling it's similar, like the reason chefs don't endlessly cry while doing onions is because same way as how we train soldiers to be able to resist tear gas. It's like,
Exposure
here's a room
therapy.
Full of gas.
Yeah.
Go in there. You'll eventually know how your body will adjust. Trust us. We've done the math.
So I think there's one more level on top of that. I believe proper chefs know how to cut an onion in a way where they don't break as many cell membranes. I think if you cut along the grain or something like that, you do less of that tearing damage, and then you end up releasing less of that onion air. Some also say that you can wet your knife, and then that could coat the surface of the onion as you cut it.
So it never gets aerated? Okay. I can see that.
And then additionally to that, the sharper the knife, the better, because you won't tear the cell walls. You'd rather, or burst them because it's blunt and it's just pushing it along. So it'll just slice through it.
Now, there is one other trick that I have learned, and I learned this from reading Rainbow when I was like a little kid. If you ever have to cut an onion, you can wear sunglasses to basically act as a barrier from that aeration.
Scott, gases fill a volume.
It is a projectile squirt. It's a ballistic cut. Yes. Squirt.
Okay, you have to slow down when you're cutting your onions, Scott. You're cutting so fast. You're getting ballistic onion juice in your eyes that you need sunglasses to be that cool.
And then what happens to trebuchet cuts?
Trebuchet. Yes. That's when you throw it at the knife. Oh, all right. Well, that's our fun fact for the week. So that's a lot of good tips of how to cut an onion.
Well, this brings us over to the game portion of our show, Ian, where we have lined up 4 different games for you. We'll introduce them one at a time, and if you accumulate enough points throughout this game show, we may grant a special prize for you at the very end. The first game that we have set up is a little game that I like to call Order Matters. I have 3 elements on the periodic table, and you have to guess in what order they were discovered. In alphabetical order, these elements are iodine, oxygen, and potassium. So, do you want to take any guesses as to when they were discovered? And I understand humans have been breathing oxygen for a long time, but at some point, someone had to put it pen to paper and say, yeah, oxygen is oxygen. What are your thoughts for iodine and potassium?
Potassium is going to be third, iodine is going to be first, and oxygen is second.
Okay, locking it in?
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And Scott, what are you thinking?
I'm going to say potassium's first. And that's the reason why we have the letter K for it, is because it's left over from an older version of how we call it out. I don't know about oxygen and iodine. I could see oxygen being second, but I could also see oxygen being third, being like the fun fact, kind of like oxygen wasn't really known. It was just air. We didn't know it was called oxygen. It was just the element of air. So I'm going to go that route, and I'm going to say potassium, iodine, and then oxygen, because it's hard to discover something that you can't even see.
That is a really good point. Okay, so the answer to this riddle is Ian got 1 point. Oxygen
Hey.
was the second in this series, discovered in 1770s, and
Nice.
we have potassium discovered in the early 1700s, and iodine wasn't discovered until the early 18th century, 1810s or so.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which
Okay.
is kind of interesting because we do
you have any-
humans require iodine for some metabolic processes. I think there's a story
Literally
about
die.
like
Yeah.
a guy that wanted to live out in a cabin out in the middle of nowhere, and he was totally self-sufficient. He was able to cook and forage and hunt for himself, but the one thing he couldn't get in his remote cabin was iodized salt, and he needed that to survive. Yeah, fun fact.
Interesting. Do we know how they were each discovered?
The French.
Potassium
Uh,
iodine.
It came out of, it looks like he added something to a solution and it precipitated out of that solution vapor that was purple as well as
Precipitated,
turning
okay.
it a deep black/purple. He gave it to a chemist friend of his and they were like, this isn't a thing we'd seen before.
Good old 1800s
you-
chemistry.
You can't believe how many things were found just because they went, why is it doing that? Or it was I wasn't expecting that. Or why are my lips suddenly tingly and sweet?
Or hey, I didn't die from the overexposure to this.
Yeah, way to luck
Nice.
out. So that's the first game.
Yeah.
All right. All right, we're going to now move on to the second game, Fake News.
So far, Ian, you have 1 point. You need 10 points in order to get our prize. So this category is going to be worth a total of 3 whole points. What I have for you is 3 news stories, one of which is true, the other 2 are fake. And your goal is to go through and suss out which one is the true news story that happened. All right, number 1. A sure thing. Dubai's luxury beaches exposed for fake sand and photoshopped waves. A luxury beach club in Dubai has been forced to apologize after its visitors discovered its pristine white sands and turquoise waters were largely artificial. Promotion images showed an untouched paradise, but guests arrived at the location and found a mix of imported sand and artificial turf and heavily edited shorelines. The sea itself had been digitally enhanced in advertisements to appear more vibrant than in reality. Disappointed, visitors slammed the deception online with posting, "They literally sold us a beach that barely exists." Facing backlash, the resort admitted to digitally altering the images and using imported materials to, quote, enhance the experience, end quote. The controversy highlights a growing trend among attractions using digital enhancements and artificial landscapes to attract tourists, sometimes at the cost of trust.
Okay, that was the
Okay.
first story. Now, I personally
I'm-
really want to believe it.
I mean, come on, it's the Middle East with people with more money than sense, and they care more about vision than actual practicality. So, it's very likely.
But, I mean, that's the nature of advertising. So the advertisers did their job, I suppose. I'll have to mull on this one a little bit more. How about you introduce us to the next story?
All right, number 2. Snow Way. China's winter village busted for fake flakes. A popular winter tourist attraction in China has turned into an apology after being exposed for using cotton, wool, and soapy water to fake snow during an unseasonable warm winter. Chengdu Snow Village, known for its picturesque snowy landscapes, faced unexpectedly high temperatures during this Lunar New Year's holiday. In an attempt to maintain its wintry appeal, the village spread cotton wool across rooftops and pathways, but failed to disclose the deception. Visitors quickly noticed the fake snow, with images circling online showing large sheets of cotton strewn about. A snowy village without snow? One social media mocked. Facing backlash, the village issued a statement on WeChat admitting that the attempt had left a very bad impression. The attraction has since removed the synthetic snow and offered refunds to disappointed tourists. Meanwhile, China's Weather Bureau warns that climate change is making winters more unpredictable, raising questions about how snow-reliant destinations will adapt without resorting to artificial tricks.
So for
So
this
that's
story,
number 2.
yeah, I mean, when I think about Disneyland in the winter months, they'll do that fake snow festival kind of thing, but that's like actual shaved ice that melts. That would make
I mean,
sense,
they
but it would
also-
make sense for China.
They do
trying
the
to
same
use
in
materials.
Knott's Berry Farm for walking around. It's all very interesting snow.
But it's not
that's
wool.
just soapy. Yeah, it's not cold.
Mm.
But also, I recall this article actually being a thing, so
Oh, I'm gonna rely on your memory. Okay,
my memory's pretty decent.
nice. That makes one of us. All right. If you're leaning into that one, then I'm excited to see what we have for the third story. Scott, take it away.
All right, number 3. I fell for it. Paris's cafe busted for fake tower view. A popular cafe in Paris has come under fire for misleading advertising after tourists discovered its promised breathtaking Eiffel Tower view was nothing more than a strategically placed poster. The cafe, located in a narrow street far from the iconic landmark, used promotional images showing the table with the Eiffel Tower seemingly in the background. However, visitors quickly realized that the view was actually a large, printed backdrop positioned behind the outdoor seating area. Outraged, customers took to social media, with one disappointed tourist calling it the most Parisian scam ever. The cafe defended itself, claiming the images were for illustration purposes, but has since updated its advertising to clarify the reality of the location. As global tourism rebounds, critics argue that attractions should focus on authenticity rather than misleading gimmicks.
Would a Parisian do that?
I feel not a Parisian would do that, but someone who will use the fact that they were able to acquire real estate in the city of Paris. Very naive tourists would be like, oh my god. But also, you should know if you're on your Google Maps, you can be like,
I'm walking further and further away.
The Eiffel Tower is nowhere near here.
All right, then I will summarize for you guys. You have 3 choices of which one's the true one and which 2 are the fake ones. Number 1, a sure thing. Dubai's luxury beaches exposed for fake sands and photoshopped waves. Number 2, no way. China's winter village busted for fake flakes. Or number 3, I fell for it. Paris's cafe busted for a fake Eiffel Tower view. Which one of these 3 is the true story?
About it. I kind of want the first story to be the real one.
I'm also leaning towards the first story as well. I'm going to go for the Dubai AI beach resorts.
Yeah, I'll go for the fake snow story.
All right. And the answer is... it is the Chinese one, unfortunately. You had it dead on from the beginning. You knew that I have read that article. You do have a really good memory. I was like, oh no,
he knows. Use that beautiful memory of yours, Ian.
Yeah, it might have not been
there has been plenty of fake ads for Dubai. However, the big thing that makes this one not true is the Dubai apologizing.
Oh yeah, sorry. They just found the guy who did the job incorrectly and chopped his arm off. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so that's where that was the story. I was like, that one's close to being true. I'm sure they've actually done fake sand in Photoshop. I mean, they've built a whole island that looks like a palm tree to then sell beach resort, which that's a whole other one. That's the big issue with that one is algae growth and people being mad about the algae smell. But nowhere have they issued an apology for anything that they've done.
If they really wanted to, they could also not live in a desert.
You know, that might be a good idea. But
right?
Then where would they get their oil from? But yes, the Snow Way China's winter village busted for fake flakes is the true story. Basically, this town was a winter destination for Lunar New Year, and so everyone will go there to take picturesque photos of the snow-capped mountains and all that stuff. But because it's been so warm, there wasn't any snow. And so in order to not miss out on tourism, they basically put fake snow all over the place. And their fake snow was cotton wool and soap water, essentially. So everyone was justifiably disappointed, if not angry, that their snow in the background was kind of shitty, for lack of a better word.
Hey, but they didn't use AI.
They did not use AI. It was a real fake snow.
It's real fake snow.
They got that going for them, at least. But unfortunately, no points were awarded in this one. It's okay. We got a lot of trivia questions at the end that you can get a lot of points on if you need to.
I'm just worried about the effects of the snow, of the soapy wool on the environment, because it...
Ooh, that brings us great into today's advert. I like your segues, Austin. Our partner for today is Big Recycling. Recycle today for a better tomorrow. Every day, millions of items end up in landfills, items that could have been recycled and given a second life. Plastic, paper, glass, metal don't belong in the trash. They belong in recycle bins where they could be transformed into something new. By recycling, you help reduce waste in landfills and oceans, save energy and natural resources, cut pollution and protect wildlife, create a cleaner and healthier planet for future generations. It's easy to make a difference. Separate your waste, rinse your recyclables, and dispose of them properly. Every bottle, can, and piece of paper Recycle is a step forward to a greener future. The choice is in your hands. Recycle today because Earth deserves a second chance.
Thank you, Big Recycling.
Thanks, Big Recycling.
Although it's kind of shitty for you, Big Recycling, to put the onus on us, the consumer, when big corporations
we're not going to talk about
heavy lifting. Bigger corporations should do heavy lifting. Don't put the onus on us civilians.
Or on the conspiracy theories that the whole reason why we have recycling programs is so that way we don't feel bad about buying plastic bottles. It was a marketing tactic.
There's that. There's also bunker oil still being used for all of our cargo shipping. It's the stuff at the bottom of the diesel tank.
Stuff you can't sell because it has so much crud in it.
Bunker oil. And you just burn it.
Well, if it
it's like one step above crude oil.
The capitalism machine will not be slowed.
No. It will grind every last thing into crude oil to fuel everything that we desire and purchase through Amazon.
No slowing down. All right, thanks again, Big Recycling. We will try to be more mindful about our consumer habits. With that said, let's go on to our third game segment. This is a musical segment. In this musical segment, I have prepared 3 Western themes. I will first play them in reverse to give you a taste of what they are, where you have a chance to guess for an extra point, and then I will play it forwards, where you can try to identify or recognize the tune. So the first song in reverse, let's take a listen.
I'm gonna say it's Lone Ranger, but that's not right.
Can you pick apart the instrumentation? What do you think you're hearing?
It's a guitar.
Yeah, there was just some. Yeah, I think you're on the right track. Let's take a listen to it played forward. Yeah, you're right on the money.
And it goes doo-doo-doo.
Is it the ants go marching?
No.
No, okay.
It's not from it's not a Clint Eastwood spaghetti western.
It is not.
It's not from a John Wayne western. Is it from Django?
Because it is an iconic Western piece. It's probably used in several songs. Well, let me look it up.
Is it from Roy Rogers?
A lot more westerns than I do, my dude. I'm glad you're playing this and not me. I got like the ants are marching in. That's the best I got.
It definitely gleans off of it, though.
Yeah.
All right, I will give you a pity point for identifying Ghost Riders in the Sky.
Where was it used?
Well, it was originally done by the Highwaymen, and then Johnny Cash covered it a few times. Riders in the Sky was a movie. Twisters in 2024. Blues Brothers 2000. Yeah, it's used in a few different places.
All right.
All right.
Good job, Ian.
Yeah, good job. You're able to pick it out. All right, let's listen to song 2 played in reverse.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure they're synth horns, but the original one uses normal horns.
Yeah, I wasn't able to bring out my trumpet team at 9 o'clock this morning. They weren't warmed up and ready to go.
I'm sure Diane would have loved that. The bass line is
Yeah.
And it's one that they used, I believe, in Rango, and I don't know the name of the song. I think they even used it in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Very possible.
For his piece for when he was in Texas. Oh, wait, sorry, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing.
Keep that in mind. You don't have no?
I'm going to sit this one out.
Guess a Western artist. Just pick a name out of the hat.
Johnny Cash.
All right.
Is it Ring of Fire?
Cash.
It is. Good job. I completely missed that.
Yep, it's Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash.
Very nice. Good job, Ian. You got it right before you played it, so that's 2 points.
Woohoo!
Good job.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Really ringing it in.
Is it Western or is it country music?
It's Western themed. It's
Think
Americana.
Good question. What's the difference between country and Western? I would say just the humidity.
I'm going to play the third song in reverse now. Here we go.
Da, 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 da. Oh, what is the name of that song?
Scott, are you a movie buff?
I want to say it's the Rohai or whatever. I don't know the name of the song.
Yeah, it's that one. It's Rawhide.
Keep them doggies rolling.
Rawhide.
Rawhide. Yep, Rawhide.
Nice. That's 2 points for you, Ian, I'd say.
Yep.
Man, you popped up on this one.
Featured famously in Blues Brothers, which has and I believe it still counts as the largest amount of cars destroyed that were operational.
In a movie? Nice.
Yeah, it was quite the scene. Were they just decommissioning a fleet of Crown Victorias and said,
Yeah,
have fun?
no, box body GM cars. But yeah, basically just they took the whole entire pool, like police pool, and were like, well, we're retiring them anyways. So they, like, you don't need them back? Well, and then they just crashed every single one of them.
Yeah, it was just a wild, crazy ending scene to that movie.
Well, I think that gives Ian up to 6 points now. 5 from this section, 1 from the first section. So good
That
job,
is a
Ian.
total
That
of
puts you
6.
really nice into scoring points with this next section.
Let's go.
So you just need 4 points to win your mystery prize. In this next segment will be rapid fire trivia questions. I'm about to put 60 seconds on the clock, and Scott will run you through trivia questions. You can say pass if you don't know.
If you get it correct, you hear this sound. If you get it wrong, you hear this sound.
Valid.
Excellent.
All right.
60 seconds on the clock, starting now.
Which anime movie features Elsa and Anna?
Frozen.
Who discovered America in 1942?
Christopher Columbus.
What is the powerhouse of the cell?
Mitochondria.
Who is the Greek god of the sea?
Poseidon.
What is the most common color in the sky?
Blue.
What sport uses the term love for a score of 0?
Golf. I mean, tennis.
What is the national sport of Japan?
Baseball.
Who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird?
Oh, fuck. Pass.
Fine. Which bird is known for its ability to mimic human speech?
Parrots.
Who is known as the king of pop?
Michael Jackson.
How many holes are in a standard golf course?
18.
What does CPU stand for?
Last question.
Computing processing unit.
Central processing unit. You're close.
Damn it.
All right, you
And
got, let's see, 1, 2,
A total of
4.
8. Way to go. Congratulations,
Yeah,
Ian.
14 points total. That does
Was it
mean
correct that love was tennis?
yes. Love was tennis.
But I said golf.
You
Yeah.
did.
I already pushed the button when you corrected it, so I just moved on. All right. So, Ian, that does mean you win our show. Congratulations,
Hey.
you win. Now you may request one hypothetical wish with our stipulations. If you could wish for anything, what would you wish for?
My one wish, let's see. I would like for everybody to be able to experience their days and with as little stress and irritations as possible.
Your wish can be granted. The stipulation with this one would be that it's a government mandated drug that everybody has to take.
You mean the fluoride in the water?
There's Ozempic and Zoloft.
Well, no, just as far as like everyone is zonked out, there's no pain, no one can even think. Everyone's just zombified, essentially. It's a dystopian future, but your wish is
no more
granted.
inventions.
Soma.
Yeah, recreational drug used in Brave New World to make happy.
Soma.
Not to be
If
confused
everyone
with
gets
skooma.
Soma, that's government issued. Yep. Congratulations!
Yay!
Everybody's not drugged.
I hope everybody has Soma in their life.
Ooh. All right, Scott, before we leave the show, we have a few listener written in questions. Are you ready to give a listen?
Yeah, always love it when our listeners write in.
Me too. All right, first, Ethan from Seattle, Washington asks us, how do I stop overthinking every little decision, like whether to text someone back? It sounds like you're in your own head, Ethan.
That is a hard one.
Just
Sometimes
text back.
I was gonna say sometimes you just gotta go with the flow and move on. One thing I've found that's helpful is just keeping myself distracted enough so that I don't have time to overthink. Just do more.
Work sets you free.
The work will set you free, Ethan. If you're thinking about texting someone that you care about, just stop thinking about it. Just text them.
Just do it.
I think you need more action in your life.
Now, if they have a restraining order against you, do not take this advice.
Do not take this advice. Okay, this one's a little uncharacteristic, but Ava from New Orleans writes in, "My sex life has gone stale. What's a freaky trick to spice things up without scaring my partner?"
Tell them to go to a spa. You have no idea how well that's going to help.
I don't know how well that would help.
Or clean the house.
I will say, if you can figure out what your partner's love language is, doing acts of that kind or whatever their love language is what really how you spice things up without scaring them. Now, if you have the way to scare them, you can start showing them your love language. However, that doesn't always go over well. A lot of people that don't like surprises really hate surprises, and they really do mean that, so don't do that.
Especially in intimate or quiet areas.
Vulnerable, yeah. So figure out what the love language is, and then do more of that. And then
Whatever you do, make sure you maintain full confidence and respect for the other in whatever you do. Try to do to spice things up.
Next, Noah from Denver, Colorado writes in, "I'm 35 and still living with my parents. How do I break out without breaking the bank?"
I know the answer for you, and you're not going to like it. I know this. You have to leave Colorado. You're not going to be able to afford Colorado. There are many other places you can go live to gain experience, to then get a job, qualifications that you need to then move back to Colorado, to then be able to afford living where you're living with your parents. But Colorado's changed drastically over the past 35 years to where what you could afford back when you were a kid, it's no longer affordable. Same thing with California. You got to just leave the state, work in a state that you can afford to live, to then get the qualifications to get hired for a job that pays well enough in Colorado.
And hopefully be able to go back.
Yes.
But in another thing, if you are still able to tolerate living with said parent, you should.
This is true. Yep.
You have to come to the realization that you are going to break the bank. Like, don't be scared of that. Just be scared of not having a plan once that bank is broken. They have people that have certifications and trainings, very popular in Denver, and you can get those if you're willing to stay with your parents and afford to pay for that training and get what you want. You will be paid heavily for those specialties.
Because California, Colorado, Connecticut, all of them have super high cost of livings. It's the sea state cabal.
Do they sell clam chowder in Colorado? Because then it can be the sea state cabal.
we got Rocky Mountain oysters. Does that count?
I wouldn't eat those oysters.
They're actually not that bad. They just taste like fried octopus, honestly.
Oh boy.
It's the same consistency as octopus.
All right, our last writer comes all the way from the Cheyenne Mountain Range in Colorado, a T800. T800, what do you have to say?
How do I deal with a family member who's always borrowing money but never pays me back?
Thank you for writing in, T800.
Some of the best things that you can do for a family member who constantly borrows money is to cut them off. Do your due diligence, because they're going to be borrowing money for some reason, and they will eventually develop unconsciously that they have a safety net. And that safety net is good for most people. Like, most people will spring back because they have some level of deep ingrained anguish or having to go to do that. But eventually, at some point, sometimes the best thing to do is to cut them off.
It's kind of a hard truth that you might have to introduce them to. Personally, I do everything in my power to not lend money to friends. I will just give it to them. I'll say, this is a gift. Don't worry about it. I don't want anything back. It's yours. And then I can move on with my life without wondering, hey, when am I going to get that back? It's
definitely. It's like whenever you let someone borrow money. No. You always give it as a gift. You will preserve your own mental state with that. Because eventually, if you go with the whole borrowing whatnot, you will eventually have some deep-seated resentment for that person.
Yeah, it's tricky. T800. Really good, insightful question.
The only thing I will lend people and not give them outright is my time. And so for a fellow time traveler, whereas I'm just moving forward in time 1 second per second. I know you move backwards, but that's where lending time, I think, is the most valuable gift you can give somebody. And if they're having a hardship with money, if you can't gift them money, you can still lend them your time to help them with whatever issue that they think money will solve for them. Whether that's building something new, buying groceries, you can help them cook, teach them how to make cheaper groceries or cheaper food. Recipes, all that stuff. And so they don't have to order in or eat out and so forth, or just buy the expensive food that they don't end up getting nourishment from. So there's a lot of stuff that you can give that doesn't have to be given back. But the only thing I'll lend typically is my time. Same to charities. I have the same concept for myself. I'll volunteer places. I very rarely donate money because I don't know where that money goes.
Donating your time, that's definitely save people money.
Yeah.
And
it shows that you care, because that's a lot of it. At the end of it is the repercussions of saying no to somebody who's desperate enough to have to ask you for money isolates them, makes them feel even more alone. And so if you say no to the money, but you still donate your time, they realize that you're not telling them no. You're just saying, I can't help in that way.
Toyota, they've donated to the New York Food Exchange or Soup Kitchen, but they didn't donate money. They sent their manufacturing engineers to there, had them analyze how the food kitchen works, and then provided them a plan of how to do it faster. And they went from a 45-minute wait time for people to get in line and then get food, to a 1 minute wait time.
Way to go, Toyota.
Well, cool. Well, thank you guys for writing in, and thank you, Ian, for joining us. This is a great show to chat with all y'all, and thanks
it was great
again.
catching up. And thank you again, Ian, for being our esteemed guest. And we will see you listeners in the next one. Bye-bye now. Have a good one. Write in.
See you guys. Bye.